So let's move on to the wide receivers. Let's talk about the wide receivers. I heard some things about Pettis today. I mean, just talk about the guys who had a pretty good day the last 2 days and what they looked like today.
Well, Pettis had a solid camp. I mean, it was quiet. He played mostly with the backups. The Niners didn't put too much pressure on him. But when guys got hurt and he needed to step up, he basically did. I mean, today he had 5 catches. He let one bounce off his face today, which was embarrassing. He dropped one in the end zone, which is tough. But he bounced back. I've seen him go in the tank after days like that, almost like he was embarrassed to mess up in front of his coaches or teammates or media. A sign of maturity is to move on and not let that ruin your whole day, and he did that today.
That's good.
So that's encouraging. I don't think he'll start if they don't have other options, but I don't think they're asking that much of him this year. So I think maybe next year he could step up if he needs to. So far, Kendrick Bourne's been really good, but what they need is Brandon Ayuk back because he was so explosive, and I think he's really the only wide receiver they have that could go 80 yards for a touchdown. Even Deebo Samuel's really good, but I think Ayuk is the kind of guy who could score from anywhere. He was making plays after the catch in camp where you don't really see stuff like that because it's two-hand touch. He's really tough to touch, to even get a hand on. So Ayuk was the one who stood out. They need him back as soon as possible.
What about Trent Taylor?
Trent Taylor's Trent Taylor. I mean, he got a bunch of catches last year before he went down and got a lot of hype. He's really good for his role. He's not Wes Welker, but he's a solid player. I think he'll probably end up being the starting punt returner. But again, I think Jordan Reed's going to eat into his playing time because his role is the third down guy. And now all of a sudden you got Jordan Reed who gets open just as well, but is 6'2". So there's him. The rookie Jawan Jennings really didn't do well. He dropped a lot of passes. He had mental mistakes where he wasn't looking for the ball when it came his way. I'm not sure he's done enough to necessarily make the team. I wouldn't be surprised if he got cut. He's right on the borderline. And then JJ Nelson's on IR. Travis Benjamin opted out. They keep getting back. They've been looking for a speed receiver and they don't have one. So I don't know if they'll get one eventually. I mean, who do they have? Kevin White. And Kevin White.
Oh yeah.
What about Kevin White?
Touchdown in the NFL. He hasn't scored one.
Well, look, today he ran a post route and was open and ran a fade route and was open. And both times CJ Beathard overthrew him. So he looks like he moves pretty well. He's big. He's fast. I'd like to see him play with Jimmy. I mean, I can't put that on him because Beathard missed him. He was open.
So what about Tavon Austin? I've been hearing sparsely that he's been making plays.
He had a touchdown catch 2 days ago at Levi's, but it was a busted coverage where Tim Harris Jr. had to cover 2 people and he picked the guy in the flat, which was a bad choice. But Tavon Austin, I think they give him the ball a lot on the gadget plays, end arounds, jet sweeps. They'll do that to him like every other practice. Today didn't get the ball. I don't know what that's about, but he could make the team. I mean, if JJ Nelson is out for the year, he really could make the team. And Jawan Jennings being on the bubble, maybe. Because he can help their running game. That jet sweep, say what you want about Tavon Austin. Everyone knows who he is, and I still think NFL players kind of react to him when he goes in motion. He's electric.
Yeah, most
right.
definitely.
He is.
Yeah, he's a threat. Yeah, you gotta account for him.
He's not Percy Harvin, but he kind of people react to him like he is.
Yeah, because
they
he's one of those guys who could have 5 or 6 touchdowns in the season, and 2 of them would be off of special teams. You know what I mean? The other 3 would be on big plays on offense, where he literally gets in the game and he scores a 70-yard touchdown. I think that's the type of person that you need to come into the game.
What's interesting is Kevin White scored a touchdown today on an end around in the red zone.
Oh wow!
So it could be Tavon, it could be Kevin White. They want a speed receiver, and they haven't decided who it is. I think those 2 might be competing for the same spot. Maybe.
Real quick, I know Jason, you mentioned Kevin White in the last show. I thought Dre's was nah. Is that what you said, Dre? You weren't feeling Kevin White if you picked him up, and then the next day we got him.
Let's state the obvious about Kevin White. He is an impressive human being to look at with his shirt off. Man, this guy is.
He really is. Even with his pads on, it's like, wow, yeah, it was definitely first. Right? Him and Deion Jordan, dude, both. It's like, I would take you first.
I saw Kevin White with his shirt off by a waterfall, and I was like, "Is this the Old Spice commercial?" Like,
what?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
But yeah, no. So a little bit too about the way. So a little bit about Tavon Austin and how I think that they may use him, right? So, if you guys remember the second Arizona game, right? The 49ers get down. Right now, Kyle's looking for a spark, right? And they call that toss back to Richie James, right? Exactly. Tavon Austin, I feel like will fill that Richie James role if he makes this team of that sort of play of we're gonna move everybody this way, just sneak him out, toss it back to him, and that ended up being like a 70-yard play. Tavon Austin is gonna be a gadget guy for us in that way, but if he makes the team, and I am really, really, really believing that Jennings is not gonna make this team, unfortunately.
Look, Jennings gives you nothing in the running game, and it's a run-first team. And we've seen if a wide receiver can be a threat on end arounds and jet sweeps, gives them a leg up in this particular offense.
Yeah,
because they want to run the ball anyway. So Tavon Austin, he definitely fits. He has experience in the same kind of offense, which is the Rams. Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's the 6th or 7th receiver instead of Jawan Jennings.
Right.
Stinks. I really like Jennings.
Yeah. All right, good stuff, man. So let's move on.
I think they could get Jennings on the practice squad. Sorry, let's go.
I think so too.